My name's Spike Milligan, and I should say, what's yours? Good evening. We haven't got anything organised tonight, by the way, so nothing could go wrong, you understand. And I thought I'd commence tonight, actually, by reading some of Byron's poems. And then I thought, why should I? He never reads any of mine. What else did I say here? Oh, yes. There's an Eccles joke somebody asked me to tell about Eccles sitting in a room. He was going to audition to be editor of the Guardian, I think it was. And they only advertised for people who've been to Cambridge, and there's a room full of gentlemen from Cambridge, and Eccles was sitting in the corner with this Cambridge tie on, and Sepp said, are you going for the job? He said, oh. He said, you? He said, yes, I'm going for the job, yes. He said, so I see you're wearing a Cambridge tie. He said, yeah. You don't like the sort of chap that would go to Cambridge? He says, no, I don't. She says, well, what were you doing in Cambridge? He said, buying a tie. You better, maybe you're clapping because you're cold, but I should save it for later on. This is Jeremy Taylor, who's going to sing for us later on. He's good. I hope you know what you're doing. It says here, knock, knock. All right, it's knock, knock. Winston? See, you've forgotten him already. Knock. Knock, knock. Mrs. Ada Food. You see, you've forgotten her as well. End of part one. I don't care, really, you see. I'll start with a poem I wrote called Onos. It's a sort of poem. It's a serious poem, really. We have cracked the midnight glass and loosed the racketing star-crazed room into the night. The blind harp sings in the late firelight, and your hand is decked with white promises. What wine is this? There are squirrels chasing in my glass. Good God, I'm pissed. It doesn't get any worse than that, by the way. I thought I'd start by reading a little bit from my experience I had during World War II. I was invited to partake in World War II, a novel from Buried Free If You Die. It's a great trip, you know. So I'll start very briefly. It started in 1939, the war. I suppose none of you were born then. September the 3rd, 1939. The last minutes of peace ticking away. Father and I were watching my mother digging an air raid shelter. She's a great little woman, said Father. And getting smaller all the time, I added. 2 minutes later, a man called Neville Chamberlain, who did Prime Minister impressions, spoke on the wireless. It's from 11 o'clock. We are at war with Germany. Suddenly, my calling-up papers arrived, marked OMS. Don't open it, said Father. The last time I did that, I ended up in Mesopotamia, chased by Turks, waving pots of Vaseline, shouting, Lawrence, we love you, an Ottoman. I might assure you that my family were no strangers to military life, myself either. My family were gunners for 5 generations. In fact, my great-grandfather had been killed in the Indian Mutiny. He was hiding under a table in the NAFI when a tea urn fell on his head. My old call-up was delayed by an injury to my back. I was put in a military hospital under observation. I think a nurse did it through the ceiling. An old soldier in the next bed said to me, son, get out of here as soon as you can. Thank you, I said, thank you. My name's Milligan. He said, oh, mine's Ethel Muggles. I said, Ethel? It says Dick on your chart. He said, it was Dick when I came in. between there and then, the surgeon made a mistake. Ah, I said, the unkindest cut of all. I was discharged, and the pain in my back marked malingering. It was a proud day for my parents as 2 military policemen dragged me screaming from under the bed. At Victoria Station, the railway transport officer gave me a rail warrant, a white feather, and a picture of Hitler marked, "This is your enemy." I searched every compartment on the train, but he wasn't on it. At 4:30, June the 2nd, 1940, we arrived at Bexhill, where I got off. It wasn't easy. The train didn't stop there. I reported to what was called D Battery 56 Heavy Regiment, and a sergeant marched me into a small, gloomy room. From the ceiling hung a 40-watt light bulb that, when lit, made the room darker. Behind a table covered with a merry grey blanket sat Major Startling Grope, a man in his late 50s wearing a uniform in its late 80s. Where have you been, and why are you wearing civilian clothes? Well, they wouldn't let me on the train naked, sir, I said. I mean, why aren't you in uniform? Well, I'm not at war with anybody, sir, I said. Silence when you speak to an officer, said the sergeant. I suppose, said the major, you know you're 3 months late in arriving. I'll make up for it, sir, I said. I'll fight nights as well. All these attempts at friendly humour fell on stony ground. I was marched to a bare room by a bombardier, and he pointed to a floorboard. You're trying to tell me something, I said. That is your bed. Right, I said. Right, bombardier. Oh, I'm a bombardier already, said I. Ho, he said, a cheeky bastard, eh? I have the very job for you. He gave me a scrubbing brush with 2 bristles. I did this floorboard, right? Leering over all this was the dwarf-like battery cook, Bombardier Nash, who looked like Quasimodo with the hump reversed. He was doing things to sausages that even Longford would have found obscene. To make matters worse, there were no uniforms in the regiment, and I cut a racy figure on guard in dark blue trousers gone at the knee, powder blue double-breasted chalk-striped jacket, lemon shirt and white tie, all set off with a steel helmet, boots and gaiters. It wasn't easy. Halt! Who goes there? I challenged. And when they saw me, the answer was, peace off. It was a very painful and damp experience. Well, anyhow, I'm going to hand you over to Jeremy Taylor now. He sings some lovely songs. It's going to be relaxed like this all the evening. As I say, we haven't got anything special to do. It was either this or sex. So here are Jeremy Taylor.
Thank you. Nice to be back in this place again. I thought I'd kick off tonight with a song which I wrote for Dr. Barnard, the well-known medical satirist. And it's just all about Dr. Barnard's prophecies for various transplant operations involving human beings and animals. Pull the transplant clips up. The other day I was feeling ill. I went to the doctor to get some pill. He looked at me in despair, said, my friend, you're badly in need of repair. Now with this up-to-date surgery, we get our spare parts from the menagerie. So if you'll kindly sit down a while, I'll just telephone for a crocodile. And soon I had the heart of an ape, the liver of a chicken, the blood of an ox through a tube which they stick into me spleen, which I borrowed from a cow. I was human once, but I'm not sure now. No. That's the chorus. You can sing that if you like. Walking down the street, my girlfriend I happened to meet. My heart went bom-dee-dee-bom, just like the ape that I got it from. My my ox blood boiled. I started to moo. I was pawing at the ground, what else could I do? And when at last she walked on by, I said cock-a-doodle-doo and started to fly. Help me! I got the heart of an ape, the liver of a chicken, the blood of an ox through a tube. It's the sticking to me spleen, which I borrowed from a cow. I was human once, but I'm not sure now. No. Going out one night, me and a fella got into a fight. I hit him with a left, I hit him with a right, but somehow I just couldn't finish the fight. No matter what I did, he kept coming at me. He was the stubbornest man I ever did see. It was in vain, I find out at last, this fella's got the jawbone of an ass. And me, I got the heart of an ape, the liver of a chicken, the blood of an ox through a tube. It's the sticking to me spleen, which I borrowed from a cow. I was human once, but I'm not sure now. Now come on, doctor man, help me. Now in the end I was getting fed up. I said to this doctor, look man, I've had enough. All this animal junk won't do. Get me some organ that doesn't come out of the zoo. He said, well now, what about this for size? I tell you, I could hardly believe my eyes. I looked at this thing with dismay and suspicion. It was the brain of a politician. I'd rather have the heart of an ape, the liver of a chicken, the blood of an ox through a tube, which the sticking to me spleen, which I borrowed from a cow. I was human once, but I'm not sure now. I was human once, but I'm not sure now. Thank you. This Dr. Barnard, of course, is a native of South Africa. Oh, perhaps I phrased that wrongly. Wait a minute. He's a South African man. So was I for about 5 years. I used to live there and write songs there, many of which were recorded, all of which were banned. They were. They were all banned off the radio. Here's one of them. It's just really a very simple, silly little song, which describes a day in the life of a lift girl. One of these young ladies who operates the lifts in the big department stores in Johannesburg. They sound like this. Going up. First floor. Knitwear, nappery, beachwear, sportswear, corsetry, millinery, ladies' underwear. Thank you. Going up. We are the lift girls in a big department store. We kindly take the patrons going up from floor to floor. Don't wonder if we're weary of standing up all day, 'cause when the doors fly open, it's our job to say, second floor. Glassware, ironware, hardware, brushware, crockery, cutlery, El Fandango tea room. Orange juice, lemonade, milkshakes, arsenic, rat poison, thank you. Going up, we are the lift girls. We're careful how we dress. I like my job, but I'd very much rather have been an air hostess. But as I was always airsick and I couldn't pass the test, I stand here pushing buttons and the lift does all the rest. Third floor. Cosmetics, perfumes and colognes, ribbons, handbags, shopping baskets, belts, buttons, 10 and 20 dresses, thank you. Excuse me, can I find glasses on this floor? Glassware, ironware, hardware, brushware, crockery, cutlery, El Fandango tea room, second floor. Oh, now you're perhaps going down. Going up. Ach, Sister Marlene, what hell of a job this is. The boss won't even give us time to go and Evers's. And while we're on the job, we can't even ever smoke. Ach, I'm so tired, man, I'd give anything for a Coke. Fourth floor. Kiddies wear, juvenile, children and sub-teens, teens, twin teens, middle age, old age, senility, dotage and decomposition. Funeral shrouds, going up. Don't lean on the buttons, please. Don't lean on the doors. The car's full up now, so you have to walk to the other floors. Hey, take your hands off me. Who do you think you are? I may do 1,000 feet a day, but I'm not going to go that far. Fifth floor. Radio department, electrical appliances, hairdressing salon, friendly sewing school, thank you. Going up, 6th floor, offices and accounts. Offices and accounts going up. Going down. Now, if only I had a minute or two to sit down on my seat, I'm gonna sue this company for giving me flat feet. Now, I've got fallen arches and lumbago in my back, and I suppose it won't be long now before I get the sack. Now, if the lift gets stuck for an hour or two, you really can't blame me if I don't appear to sympathise with your anxiety, 'cause I've seen enough of these four walls to last for many a day, and when the clock says 5:30, I'm overjoyed to say, going home.
Some things a joke about Irishmen. There's a lot of them going around, like what do you put on the bottom of an Irish bottle, open other end, top of an Irish ladder, stop. An Irishman took a tie back to the shop, said it's too tight, and this one I just heard from Peter Sellers yesterday. Apparently, during the French Revolution, 3 of these Scarlet Pimpernels got holed up and they got caught by the French, and they were there for the guillotine. There was an Englishman, Irishman, and a Scotsman. And the Frenchman said to the English, do you want to die? He said, do you want to look at the blade or look down? So he said, I'm English, I'll look at the blade. So they put him up face upwards, they pull the thing, this thing was stuck. So the Frenchman says, this is very difficult because you are free to go, they load the country. So he went to the Scotsman and says, I'll do the same as the Englishman. I'll look up at the blade. Aye. He said, is anything worn under the kilt? He said, no, everything's in perfect working order. He said, and this thing got stuck again. I pulled it, and he says, well, it's the law of the country. You have to go again. So the Irishman came along. He says, I'll look at the blade, look up like that. The other fellow's done it. I'll do that too. So he got him underneath, and the Frenchman says, you ready? He says, all right. He said, just a minute, though. He said, I think I can see what's wrong with the blade. I've written a lot of nonsense poems in my days, mostly for people who like nonsense. Here's one of them. I have never felt... Oh, Chinese. I've never felt finer, said King of China, coming down to dine. Then he fell down dead. He died, it is. It was only 9:30. Confucius say, man with death-watch beetle in wooden leg, much better off man with tin leg in thunderstorm. And, a lion is fierce, his teeth can pierce the skin of a postman's knee. And it serves him right that because of his bite, he gets no letters, you see. This is called Ye Tortures. An American woman, I was doing this on a show once, and there's the word B-H-U-L-L-S here, bulls. She said, oh, you can't say that. So I said, why not? She says, well, it's suggestive. I said, what of? She says, well, you know, she wouldn't say it, you know. And she said, it's suggestive of something else as well. I said, well, can I say balls instead? And she said, no, you can't say that either because that's suggestive of bulls. And so on, and keep taking those tablets, you'll be all right in the morning, Milligan. Oh, no. This is called Ye Tortures, right? From a document found in the trousers of Harry Seacombe during a squirting excavation, It shows a complete list of inland revenue tortures for tax defaulters. It says the prisoner will be blond on ye grunions and krilled on ye grots. Ye leggies will be twaggled and pulled through ye mutts. Ye nukes will be fongled, spit thrice on ye thowls, then laid on ye quattle and hung by ye bowls. Twice thocked on the fneffic, yea, broggled thrice twee. Ye mogs will be grendled and stretched 6 for 3. By now, you've had it, have you? By now, if ye victim show not ye sorrow, send him home, tell him, come back tomorrow. What comes out of cows and rings like a bell? Dung. Dung. I am the vicar of St. Paul's, and I'm ringing the steeple bell. The floor of the church is on fire, or the lid has come up hell. Oh, shall I ring the fire brigade, or shall I trust in the Lord? Oh, dear, I just remembered I don't think we're insured. What's this, then? Said the fire chief. Is this church C of E? Oh, God, then we can't put it out. These lads are all R.C. R.C. Carrington Briggs cared not 2 figs whether he lived or died. But when he was dead, he laid in his bed, and he cried, and he cried, and he cried. A little song I should sing you. A little song of somebody who, when you have children, you dream that they might grow up to be something important. And this is a song of frustrated parental love. It starts off, chap singing. Well, the guitar, shall I? All right? Oh, oh, my darling little baby, what will ye grow up to be? The Prime Minister of England or the King of Italy? We waited 40 years or more to see what he would be. He's now a dustman in Chiswick. Oh, dearie dear. The boy stood on the burning deck once all, but he had fled. Twit! You stopped buying my books. I told you to stay in the car, didn't I? Right now, let's see, the silly old baboon. There was a baboon who one afternoon said, I think I'll fly to the sun. So with 2 great palms stuck to his arms, he started his take-off run. Mile after mile he galloped in style, but never once left the ground. You're traveling too slow, said a passing crow. Try reaching the speed of sound. So he put on a spurt. My God, how it hurt! The soles of his feet caught fire. There were great clouds of steam as he raced through a stream, but he still didn't get any higher. Racing on through the night, both his knees caught alight. Smoke billowed out from his rear, but quick to his aid came a fire brigade, who chased him for over a year. Many moons passed by. Did baboon ever fly? Did he ever get to the sun? I've just heard today that he's well on his way. He'll be passing through Neasden at 1. Okay. Right, porridge. This is Scotch fish for porridge. These Scotch singers all start off, I can't hear what they say. They all fight, they sing all the song. All first to get the one on the turbot and the rain. All I'll fall, I snickle now the hill, about. Right. So where's the. Oh, why is there no monument to porridge in our land? If it's good enough to eat, it's good enough to stand. On a plinth in Glasgow, a statue we should see of porridge made in Scotland. Shined oatmeal, oh be he. Next one, don't hang around, Milligan. Andre Previn went to heaven a little bit too soon. St. Peter said, you're not quite dead. Come back this afternoon. It was a young man called Wyatt, whose voice was remarkably quiet. Then one day, it faded away. And, All right, let's have a game. Anybody give me a number between 1 and 50? Correct. And you win a free burial at sea with a woman of your own choice, sir. There was a young man at Darjeeling who boarded the bus at Ealing. It said on the door, "Please don't spit on the floor." So he stood up and spit on the ceiling. I think I'll call on the services of Jerry Mayer option, that fine lad with the shirtless collar. The colour of the shirt, it's one or the other, I can't think of it.
The pot song. You want to hear that? I do sometimes refuse requests, but tonight I won't. I'll sing it for you. This song was written back in the days when smoking pot was not only fashionable, but obligatory. You know, if you wanted to be anybody, man, you had to blow that stuff. You know what I mean? I smoke a lot of pot, man. It helps me to keep sane. I sometimes have a shot of cocaine. Just a little puff helps me to unwind. And when I'm bad enough, oh, really blow my mind. Ring a roses, a pocket full of pot. Hash and cannabis resin, I smoked a lot. Now a lot of people ask me why I smoke the stuff, the marijuana or old bed socks, as it's sometimes called. Well, the fact is, man, I'll smoke anything. Hash by my baby, high on the treetop. When the wind blows your mind, you'll be safe on pot. One thing it's done for me, though, I must say, it has broadened my perceptual horizons. I mean, that hole in the ceiling that lets the rain in used to be just a hole, but now it's a whole scene, man. You know, it's way out and groovy and still lets the bloody rain in. And my vision is amazing. I can make things fit. People see me gazing and say I'm a stupid twit, but I'm thankful to the Times for helping our campaign to legalise cannabis and help me to keep sane. Far out. See, I've gone back to the original stuff now. When the sky that's overhead begins to blacken and the faces that you meet are turning glum, when the air you're trying to breathe begins to choke you, the chances are you've come to bloody Brum. Where the houses in the back streets sit and crumble, while the tower blocks rise up to kingdom come, and the old folks peer about them in confusion. They can't recognize a thing in bloody Brum. Hurry up, Fred, it won't be long before the pubs are closed. I'll buy you a pint if only we can get across the road. So do like the parrot says on the telly, look right, look left, then when you're ready, step off the curb and try and keep steady. Too late, here they come again. Try and make it soon, 'cause Charlie, I think I've got to sit down. Hey, I'll be all right as soon as we get into the Rose and Crown. But these old eyes don't see so good. My legs won't walk the way that they should. You know I'd run if I thought that I could, but I'm past it. And Charlie, remember when we'd sit on a bench in the sun, and all of our friends would gather round. The old days were fun. And down the road at the shop on the corner where we could buy tobacco for a penny, and now for a penny you can't get any. You'll have to speak up, Fred. I can't hear a word you say. It's been like this ever since I got up today. It's 6:30 when the lorries begin, 8 o'clock when the cars join in, and I can't hear myself think for the din, and my dog's got fleas. I see Brenda's husband found them a council flat. Yeah, and she says she doesn't like it. What do you think about that? 'Cause it seems there's water running down the walls, gale force winds blowing through the halls. She's 10 miles up, so nobody calls, nobody sees. Charlie, we won the war, fighting in a foreign land. You tell me now, what was it for? I don't understand. You talk to the youngsters, they don't know the hardships we had to undergo. And is it any wonder that we want to go slow? I can't find my way through all of this smoke and grime. I don't think we're ever gonna make it to the pub on time. They still call that the bull ring now. God knows why, 'cause he never sees a cow. What's more, nobody cares anyhow. They don't need it. I've had a cold since April 1959. The doctor says he's cured his own, but he can't cure mine. And now I've got rheumatism again. I wouldn't much mind if it wasn't for the pain, but it always gets worse when it starts to rain in the winter. Sunshine will bless you still and wash your heart in the rain. After the winter, spring will surely come to ease your pain. And when at last the snowflakes fall, you won't remember anything at all as you hang your life up on the wall. Hurry up, Fred, it won't be long before the pubs are closed. I'll buy you a pint if only we can get across the...
Sad, wasn't it? Very true, though. Something funny or something serious now? Yeah. I'll say something serious and stand It's a very brief thing about religion in the army. It says religion, that's right. Men in uniform can't really be considered religious unless it be a Christian profundity that makes a gunner say, Jesus Christ, when he drops a shell on his foot. Even the battery captain was suspect. One night I found him face downwards near the officer's billet singing, The Lord is my shepherd. I grant it may have been a new way of holding services during heavy shelling. The Catholics had occasional visits from a Father Holything who seemed horrified at the thought of any soldiers having sexual intercourse. Oh, be careful of the strong drink, my sons, he warned. Bear in mind it excites the sexual appetites. Therefore, if you see a comrade drunk, bring him home and bathe the parts in cold water. This is all true. Indeed, it was great to know how to be a good Christian. All you needed was an erection and a bucket of water. This is an episode of my life when I put up a tent under a sergeant. It's very simple, said the sergeant. He was talking to the erection of the Marquis. I've been camping a lot in my time, I'll show you. The 30 signallers drove to the depot at Reigate in a 3-ton truck. We were shown a great piece of rolled canvas, 6 foot by 10 by 5. From it hung lengths of trailing ropes. In picking the thing up, it was impossible not to stand on them. And we lifted. It must have weighed in the region of 5 tons. And it all seemed to be on my side. It was but a few yards to the truck, but somehow we found it impossible to get there. The lump was moved in the same way ants carry a twig. A fair bit of going round in circles, 3 paces backwards, a little bit sideways, then a lot of going round and round again. Straining around the edge were 20 gunners, while underneath, taking the weight on their heads, were 10 more. There was frequent swearing, shouting, unending strings of instructions, but progress none. The far side of the lump had started to unfold, so the supporters that side were lost to sight and carrying blind. The whole thing was becoming absurd. The lump was coming to pieces as we continually trod on the trailing ropes. Those on the outsides were getting tired, and the lump was getting lower and lower as the men underneath wilted. Finally, it collapsed with 20 gunners underneath. We tried again. This time we just dragged the thing by the trailing edges and forced it into the lorry like stuffing a turkey. The lump now seemed much larger. We crawled onto the top of it and we moved off. On arrival, we dragged what was now a long, uncontrolled canvas mess through the woods to the site. Sergeant Dawson was waiting. What the bloody hell have you done? Bombardier Hart explained. We've fucked it up, Sergeant. We'll never win this bloody war, said the sergeant, as he circled the canvas monster. Open it up full-length and fold it double on its side, he said. With a lot of twisting and untwirling, we finally got it like we wanted. Now, he said, where are the poles? Poles, Sarge? Poles! Poles, bloody poles! 10 of us went back for them. By careful planning, we returned in time to finish work for the day. But next morning, the nonsense continued. Now, first... You 3 men, take the head of the pole each, right? Now crawl under the canvas towards where the roof is, right? Muffled cries of... So far, so good. Now, when you get to the roof seam, you will prod the outside where there is a hole for the pole to go in. Underneath the lumps were Gunner Gordon, Gunners Balfour and Gunner White, who made their way to the holes. 2 made it, but the 3rd lump stayed still. What's up now, said Dawson. I've dropped my money, said Flash. We stood idly by as the lump moved hither and thither under the canvas. Finally, the sergeant's patient exhausted, he said, we can't wait any longer, we're pulling the tent up. You have to bloody well go up with it. We were all given a rope each. We all held the base of the 2 poles. All together, heave! Marvellous. We got it up on one side and down on the other side. All the time, Gunner Gordon's lump groped back and forth, swaying the air blue. Unable to bear it any longer, the sergeant hit the lump. Who did that? I did, said the sergeant. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. It came to the point when the Marquis was at least standing upright, and now came the tent pegs. The hammering passed by uneventfully, but something looked wrong. Suddenly it dawned. You silly buggers. It's inside out. All right, Sarge, I said, let's sleep on the outside. I suppose most of our life is spent falling in and out of love, be it with ladies, boys, girls, flowers, the sun, the moon, life itself. And I'm not untoward that. I've written many love poems to many girls, and here's one. I forget even who she was. A long time ago. As I sip the midnight dark away and fading sounds from the sleepless radio, a beating chisel cuts your face and my eyes. And oh, how far away is Leicester? Forget about that one. And they chopped down 100-foot trees to make chairs. I bought one. When I stand, I'm 6 foot. When I sit in a chair, I'm 4'2". Do they really chop down 100-foot trees to make us look shorter? Another love poem. The silent call you make, a silence so raging loud, I fear the world might know its meaning. If you fill every corner of a room, where can I look? If I close my eyes, the silence becomes louder. There is no escape from you. The only way out is in. Okay. This one is about Plastic Woman. What are you saying, supermarket shopping lady in your scarlet telephone box? Lady with a shocking bag full of labeled pollution with secret codes. What are you saying? Is this your dream booth? Are you telling some plastic operator you are Princess Grace and can you be put through to the palace? 2 decimal pence is very little to pay for a dream in Catford. If only the label on the door didn't say, out of order. Don't go. And there's one called Metropolis. I'm pretty horrified by the way our cities are going, and I'm certain all of you, if you're intelligent. I wrote this about Metropolis. I see barbaric sodium city lamps pretending they can see. And they make a new mad darkness. Beyond their orange pools, the black endlessness of time beckons. And what in that unseen dark tomorrow is waiting? That iron, sharp tomorrow, coming on unknown wheels. Who is the driver? Will he see us all in time? Right, gentlemen. Another love song. If I could write words like leaves on an autumn forest floor, what a bonfire my books would make. But if I could speak words smooth flowing as a river, you would drown when I said I loved you. And it says PTO. PTO, I see. This one I wrote the day that Robert Kennedy was assassinated. It's called Values. The prince is dying, give him air. Headlines, crisis, Kennedy shot. The assassin captured, too late, Kennedy dies. The telegrams flow and bury the body in Arlington. But somewhere in Mekong, a prince of battle is blown into bloody meat. No headlines, no crisis, and only one telegram. Another one called Autumn Morning. One day, through sad morning eyes, I drew my curtain and came upon a window set. Beyond, in shrinking gardens, the gold heads of autumn trees nodded slowly into winter. Cold green apples hung from tired wooden arms. In mute gooseberry bushes, hollow spiders swing lifeless on once geometric webs. Me, I'm late for work.
Little song of frustration for you. It's called the M4 Freedom Talking Blues. M4 heading west, going like mad, doing my best to overtake every car in sight. I must have been doing 100 all right. Just proving myself. Yeah, well, everybody's got to be a hero sometime. Engine roaring, tires singing, I could hear them death bells ringing. But it didn't seem to matter to me, 'cause just for once, boy, I was free. Free as a bird, just been let out of its cage. I was free from the wife and the washing up, free from the kids and the broken cups, free from the cupboard that needs mending, and free from the money we keep on spending on clothes and groceries, income tax, TV rental, house mortgage, pension schemes. The heck with it. 'Cause I'm out in my car and it's brand new, or almost. I got it in 62 from a guy who'd had it since 54. When it was new, he thought he wasn't sure. But it looks new from a distance. And what's more, I've stripped the engine down and bored out the head of the cylinder crown. I got twin carburetors and overhead cams. Not for me, those traffic jams. Huh, no, I'm gonna have that getaway feeling. I'm gonna really reach the ceiling. I wanna live, I wanna have fun, I wanna ride the lively one. Open up, here I come. Well, I hadn't been more than a mile or so when I see a big sign saying slow. Roadworks ahead, single file, no overtaking for 7 miles. Shit! Wow! So there I sit in a 7-mile queue, my plug's oiling up and nothing to do but look at the billboards the side of the road saying fill up with super and lighten your load. They must be joking. Well, it was 2 hours later I got out of that queue, and I was so mad didn't know what to do. 'Cause I'd make my little engine buzz if it wasn't for all the goddamn fuzz. Speed trapping, breathalyzing, where's your tax and insurance? And if you got a license to drive that vehicle, I'm sorry, officer, didn't know I needed a license to breathe. Hey! You don't get fresh with us, they said. We'll have you wishing you were dead. Bring him down to the station, Sarge. Dangerous driving will be the charge. We're gonna chop your license off. No! Well, the cops did as they had said, and I hobbled on home almost dead. And you can see me now when the weather's fine, sailing my rubber dinghy on the Serpentine. Just for kicks. Yeah, well, everybody's got to be a hero sometime. This is a song about a well-known English character. And somebody, you may meet him every day. I certainly seem to meet them every day. I met one on the train on the way down here. I won't go into it, it's a long story. But I had a day return, you see, and I was coming back tonight on the 1:45 train. It leaves Cambridge at 1:45, you see. And he said, he said, day return, isn't it? You're coming back tonight? So I said, yes. Well, the last train's at 9:15. I said, yeah, well, I know about that one, but I'm coming back on the 1:45. Well, that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. So I said, I know what I always come back on, you know. They said, oh, not with me, you know. So it went on. This is a song about those lovely chaps. I was just an ordinary Englishman till I got me uniform and hat. And ever since that hour, I exercise me power, preventing you from doing this and that. You'll find me on the turnstiles at the zoo, or outside the Roxy, marshalling the queue. And if you turn up late when I'm on the gate, it's no good asking me to let you through. I'll just say, job's worth, it's more than my job's worth. I don't care, rain or snow, whatever you want, the answer's no. I can keep you standing for hours in the queue, and if you don't like it, you know what you can do. When you're trying to see what the butler saw, I'm the one who says, come on, move on. And if you want to stay, you'll have to bleeding pay, and even then you can't stay long. You may be almost dropping dead from thirst, or waiting for the toilet fit to burst. But I've got the key, and you won't get half from me until I've had me little grumble first. Job's worth, it's more than me job's worth. I don't care, rain or snow, whatever you want, the answer's whatever you want, the answer's no. I can keep you standing for hours in a queue, and if you don't like it, you know what you can do. La 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 la. Fishing in the river on a summer's day, I suppose you think that water's all for free. I've got news for you, everybody pays his due, and right now it'll cost you 50p. And don't think you can picnic on the grass, public amenity, my arse. And if you want fresh air, you'll find some over there, but I don't feel inclined to let you pass without a backhander. Job's worth, it's more than me job's worth. I don't care, rain or snow, whatever you want, the answer's I can keep you standing for hours in the queue, and if you don't like it, you know what you can do. Morning, skipper, what can we do for you? Don't call me skipper. Right, chief, don't shout. Whatever you require, we're very sorry, squire, but it's 10 to 1, we just sold out. Of course you could try that shop around the block, but I doubt if he's got any left in stock. And if you think we'll get 'em through inside a month or two, I'm afraid you're in for a nasty shock. Cock, job's worth, it's more than me job's worth. I don't care, rain or snow, whatever you want, the answer I can keep you standing for hours in the queue, and if you don't like it, you know what you can do. When you get back home, you will heave a sigh and thank the Lord that you got rid of me. But it won't be very long before your telephone goes wrong and you need someone to fix your TV. And add to that, your lights have all gone out and your central heating boiler's up the spout. And when you're tearing your hair and the wife's going spare, you'll hear us in the distance calling out 2, 3, 4. Joksworth, Joksworth, it's more than our Joksworth. We don't care, rain or snow, whatever you want. The answer's no. We can keep you standing for years in the queue. And if you don't like it, you know what you can do. You can lump it, you know what you can do.
Men, put the cat out. Why? I think it's on fire. Play some blues, right? What's that, an appliance? I love the News of the World. They put these things in. Police raided a house in Roehampton Crescent this morning. They took away 7 boxes of postcards, 3 projectors, and a box of appliances. And what are these appliances, Daddy? I mean, I think it's a corrupt way of making men join the police force. They all join to find out what the appliances are. It's time for your appliance, my lord. Thank you, thank you. And you shall go to the bar. I'll show you to your room, sir. Got a weak heart as well. And there was a book of blues published, just Negro blues, which weren't let out because they're considered corrupt. And I remember one of the choruses was, okay, just play the first chord then. Take me upstairs, babe. Lay me on your brass bone bed. Oh, take me upstairs, baby. Lay me on your brass bound bed. And you can ride me, baby, till my face is cherry red. I don't know anymore. Oh, yeah. I got those rheumatism blues. That was on the Major 7th I finished. Some stuff on children. I like children. Some people can't bear them. I can't, but I like them. Yeah. I have letters, lots of letters from children. And here's one from St. Mary's School. This bag
We are in Mr. Adams' class. I like the story of the witch's tale. Sir has read it 3 times. I like Giant Jim because he is stupid. I've seen you on the television, and I think you are stupid. And it's signed, Love from Jacqueline, age 9. Another letter, a wonderful letter I read once. It said, Dear God, this was letters to God, a marvellous letter. Dear God, can you please make our sister prettier so we can get her married off? Great stuff, isn't it, man? I have a daughter, Jane. She's 6, and there's a little Herbert next door called Ian. He's held together with pimples. He's 4.5, and he's a twit as well. And she said, I'm going to marry Ian. I said, really? She says, yes. I said, well, why do you want to marry so young? She said, well, it's better to choose your husband when you're young. It saves having going on the streets looking for one when you're old. Another one. I said to my little girl one spring morning, I said, would you like to come and help Daddy cut the grass? She said, yes. We make the garden nicer when the cat dies. What's it mean? And my boy rushes in one morning and says, Dad! I said, what's wrong? What's it? He says, am I dead? I said, no. He said, oh, good. I'll go and play in the garden then. And there's an aftermath of this, because I said to him later, why do you ask me if you were dead? And he said, well, if you're dead, you have to go and play in the graveyard.
Takes time. Another time, it's beautiful sayings too. They say things which are, well, they sort of reach aspiring heights which an adult poet would like to think about, but they do it automatically. And I bought a telescope to show my daughter the moon, little tiny telescope. We got it in the Army and Navy stores. And I was showing her this moon one night, and I said, isn't it beautiful? She said, yes, it's very beautiful, Daddy. And she says, when we find our wings, we'll fly there forever. Wasn't that beautiful? And just as I said that, the other daughter rushed in and said, I've just been sick of a dog. One in the summer, of course, I bought one of these put-you-up pools, about 4 foot. When you dive in, you become an imbecile straight away, And it's crammed with all these little spotty Herberts. You know what I mean? And the garden's full of them, and there's an outside toilet. Thank God, And my little daughter Jane ran inside. I watched her from the window. She ran inside the toilet and locked it, you see. And a minute later, another little bloke went outside, and he banged on the door. You know the way they bang, 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 bang. And the voice inside said, "Who's there?" And he said, "It's somebody else." Logic, man. But they do drive you mad, So they rush in and say, Dad, what's a lesbian? I said, ask your mother, he knows. And I remember when I was young, I was born in India, and I went to a school, and I said, I want to send you to a convent. I said, but Dad, it's a girls' school. She said, don't worry, you're young. So anyhow, my mother took me there, and I remember a very exasperated Mother Superior sitting there, and me sitting there. And my mother said to one little boy, like to come to this convent, she says, how do you segregate the sexes? And this mother said, if you must know, we go around with a crowbar and prize them apart. And now here's a poem for the lonely. Hello. And finally, a little poem wrote for my... I'm very much impressed by Lear and Leacock, some Canadian. And I love nonsense because it has a sort of strange driving logic of its own. And when logic has failed you, sometimes nonsense helps you. This is called On the Ning Nang Nong. On the Ning Nang Nong, where the cows go bong and the monkeys all say boo, there's a Nong Nang Ning, where the trees go ping and the treetops chippa chappa choo. On the Nong Ning Nang, all the mice go clang, and you just can't catch them when they do. So it's Ning Nang Nong, the cows go bong, Nong Nang Ning, the trees go ping, Ning Nang Nong, the mice go clong. What a noisy place to belong is the Ning Nang Nong. Pow! Right.
one sounds a bit like a grim fairy tale, but in fact it was written after a situation I found myself plunged into for a very short time. It's called Young Paul. What about it, Ethel? Said old Sid. Ain't it time we had a kid? 30 years and nothing to show. Something ought to be done, it did. Don't try them dirty tricks on me, said Ethel, you know I don't agree with all that filth. I've always lived my life respectably. In all our 30 years, Sid said, he's been as cold in his marriage bed as the winter of 47. For Christ's sake, show a spark before we're dead. Now Ethel Brown was quite surprised to see her belly increase in size. It's quite obscene, she thought. She'd always known such things were most unwise. Old she was to be having a kid, the pain of it drove her wild, it did. She cursed and swore like hell. Oh, sod this thing, she cried, oh, sod the kid. Now Paul was a miserable looking thing, like chitlings tied with a piece of string. And he bawled the most of the time, and most of the time they let him bawl. One day the baby chanced to rest his tiny hand on Ethel's breast. Get off, she screamed. What a little brute, he's sex obsessed. Now Sid was not such a bad old chap, but after lunch he liked his nap, and sometimes Paul would yell. Then Sid would rise in wrath and give him a slap. When Paul was old enough, they went on a seaside holiday in Kent and sat in deck chairs. With the newspapers over their heads, they were content. The mighty waves came roaring in. Young Paul was terrified at the din, and he tried to run away. Don't be a sissy, Ethel screamed and pushed him in. Now as Paul grew up, he developed a stutter. His mum and dad were heard to mutter. Now what's the matter with him? He can't control his tongue, he must be dim. And when Paul was 17, he fell in love with a girl he knew quite well. Brought her home one day. Who's that you got down there? He heard Sid say. It's just a friend, said Paul. She's come to call, say hello. Well, you can take her back, said Ethel. We don't want to know. Now Paul's away in a mental home. His mum and dad sit all alone and wonder what went wrong. We done our best, I'm sure, but he wasn't strong. Here's something to cheer you up a bit. It's not a children's song, this one. This is a song about Blackpool, and it's one of a collection of songs which I wrote recently for a BBC film, which I think goes out a week on Friday. So if you're all glued to your telly sets instead of studying, you can have a look in. Ooh, they say, us study. Well, while I was up in Blackpool researching for these songs, the Department of Attractions and Publicity in Blackpool were extremely helpful and cooperative, and they showed me something called the Donkey's Charter. You didn't know about that. There is a thing called the Donkey's Charter, which simply says what you can and what you cannot do with donkeys. These are the donkeys which take the kids for rides on the sand. And it's worded very funnily, I thought it was anyway. This is all about it. Now you may think just because I own a donkey I can treat it any way I like. But the fact is that the donkeys have a charter, 'cause in Blackpool even donkeys have their rights. Now the charter was drawn up in May of 1942. Some of its stipulations I now will tell to you. I'm not allowed to kick my ass. Such a thing must never come to pass. I can ply me ass for iron from 10 a.m. till 1. After that we take a break from toiling in the sun. After we've taken our break, the children on the sands we'll take. Now if you're under 16 years of age and less than 8 stone, you can ride on my ass, but I must have it known that if you've got your heavy boots on, you can stick to your own, 'cause I won't have you kicking my ass. Now Friday is the day of rest for asses who've been doing their best. Once a week it's nice for them to have a holiday. They can have it at home or they can have it away. Even then you've got to watch out. You never know when there's a thief about. Now the other day a feller, it were last Friday week, took hold of my ass and away tried to sneak. I said, young man, that's quite enough. You haven't I've got some cheek. Hey, tried to steal my ass. Well, how many proprietors I've seen not keeping their asses clean. Well, they're liable to inspection from the RSPCA, and if they still don't clean them, they'll be taken away. Every ass must be controlled and learn to do just as it's told. Well, just imagine what would happen if in one fateful hour the asses all went mad and made a bolt up the tower. What a demonstration they could give of donkey power. They wouldn't need a charter, then no lordy lordy. They wouldn't need a charter, then move over brother. They wouldn't need a charter, then no, no.
Fragment of a trip that I took to Paris many years ago. I went on one of those dodgy airlines that only travel at night. You have to be blindfolded getting aboard. You get reduced fares if you sign a document saying you're an undesirable Pakistani alien with incurable bedwetting. I said to the man, are your planes punctual? He said, my dear friend, they crash every hour on the hour. Anyhow, when we landed at Orly Airport, I hailed a taxi. It drew up in a cloud of garlic. The driver leaped out and immediately gesticulated in the corner. Pardonnez-moi, I said, voulez-vous porter me à l'hôtel? Never mind all that crap, he said, where do you want to go? He took me to a hotel called Demolition by Kirkpatrick and Sons. The hotel porter raised his hat and lowered his trousers. Real French hospitality. The hotel had been built in 1837, and in 1838 they'd added an east wing. In 1839 they added a west wing, and in 1840 it flew away. Everywhere you went, you could hear the voices of the English tourist. Carry your bag, sir. I had words with the manager. I said, I'd like to talk to you about the ceiling in my room. He said, what about it? I said, I'd like one. There's the sort of hotel, if you plug your razor in, the electric lights dim. And he said, I hope you have a good memory for faces. And I said, why? He said, there's no shaving room in the bathroom. Anyway, next morning, after a breakfast of porridge and frogs, plus a steaming bidet of coffee, it doesn't bear thinking about, Daddy, does it? I joined a group of impoverished English tourists on the 30-centimes all-in tour. We were driven to the Notre Dame Cathedral with whips, where at gunpoint we were forced to climb 600 steps to the Great Bell Tower. No wonder Quasimodo had a hump on his back when he got to the top. For lunch, we were taken to a place called the Café Gogo Plastique and Chips. I ordered my meal in French, and the waiter brought me a glass of fairy liquid. And a statue of the Pope covered in custard. Pardon me, he said, but where did you learn to speak French? And I told him, soyez la piste. He said, I thought you were. He said, it was a very Gallic meal. The people next to me had frog's legs, and their friends weren't much better. And that night, we went to one of these nightclubs where they have a cover charge, even though the ladies are uncovered. And I want to sing a little song. Lovely French. French singers are the bane of my life. I always think of goats. Whenever I hear a French singer come on, say, what's that? What's his name? Charles Aznavour, yes. Yesterday, when I was young, sing a little song now. It's a little calypso that was taught to me by Sam Kidd, a very fine actor. It's from Barbados. And I like it very much. Right. Oh, there was a little fly, lived in a grocery store, and he put on the ceiling, and he put on the floor. He put on the bacon, and he put on the jam, and he put on the head of the little grocer man. The little grocer man got out his spraying gun. He said, I get that fly before the day I'm done. But before he could count up from 1 to 10, the little fly went on the grocer man again. Such a beast as the hippoanostricao, how it got so mixed up, we'll never know now. It sleeps all day and it whistles all night, and it wears your socks which are far too tight. If you laugh at the hippoanostricao, you're bound to get into a dreadful row. The creature's protected by night and by day by a bloke called RSPCA. Now, I have here a selection of fine things, a few impressions. A cat going down the M1 with its bot on fire. And second, the GPO Tower restaurant. Harold at Senlac. Oh! And finally, white man speak with forked tongue. Don't worry, Chief. Me and my friends here come to do trade with you. You Indians sell buffalo hide? Oh, red man have buffalo hide. Good. Where's your buffalo hide? He hide behind tree. Where? I'm going to read you a letter now. It's a letter by from It's by Leonard Williams, the man who keeps the Woolly Monkey Sanctuary in Cornwall somewhere. He's a marvellous man, and he's a great conservationist. And he got this letter from the HMS Lynx. Dear Mr. Williams, HMS Lynx is a Royal Navy Cat-class frigate, due to commission on the 11th of October 1969 for service at home in the Far East. The Secretary of the Federation of Zoological Gardens suggested that I write to you in an effort to obtain a stuff-mounted northern lynx as a trophy for my ship. Signed yours faithfully, D.M. Ling, Lieutenant, Weapons Officer, Royal Navy. To which Leonard Williams, my friend, answered, Dear Lieutenant Ling, I am an animal conservationist, not a taxidermist or taxidermist. However, my good friend Chief Sitting Lynx of the Iroquois Indians has a very good mounted and scalped stuffed specimen of a lieutenant of the Royal Navy. Please convey my regards to the Secretary of the Zoological Federation and tell him I look forward to seeing him stuffed at the initiation...
I'll recite you a poem. It's one all about the south coast of England, which is... lovely part. If you're familiar with it, then you'll be familiar with the poem, I expect. But if not, let it be a cautionary tale. It goes like this. All along the south coast, the sea is sort of there. The sun is sort of shining through a sort of salt sea air. There's a sort of shall we or shan't we? A sort of yes or no. Sort of rolling up of trouser legs and a dipping of the toe. All along the south coast, the day is sort of bright. At least it's sort of brighter than it is at sort of night. There's a sort of should we, could we, a sort of yes or no. It could be sort of fun. We ought to sort of have a go. All along the south coast, they're turning out the lights. It's sort of past 11 o'clock, and we've sort of seen the sights. There's a sort of shall we, dare we, a sort of groping of the thighs, a sort of gasp of sort of pleasure, a sort of burst of sort of sighs. All along the south coast, the waves beat on the shore. They sound, well, sort of different now than they sort of did before. There's a sort of did we or didn't we? A sort of smoothing down of clothes. A sort of better take you home now. Do you think it sort of shows? All along the south coast we sort of settle down. It's just as sort of good as any other sort of town. Only now we're sort of older, we sort of stop at home. We paint the walls and mow the lawn and leave the world alone. All along the south coast, the sea is sort of there. The sun is sort of shining through a sort of salt sea air. And all along the south coast can still be sort of seen a corner of sort of England that's forever sort of green. It's a sort of sequel to that. Entitled Love on the Sands, or alternatively, We All Make Mistakes. It's a sad song. A song of dire failure, I suppose. Head in my hands, watching the girls go by. I did not see you looking at me with a predatory gleam in your eye. We spent the day in a leisurely way, eating hot dogs on the sand, donuts and tea in a cafe in South Sea, and soon I was holding your hand. We shared a room in Ilfracombe. 'Twas there you showed me the way. Love was new and adventurous too, and I thought it was here to stay, here to stay for the day. And couldn't you blame me for feeling that way? I gave what I had to make you glad, and I laughed at the things people say. But when we got to St. Maur's, you sharpened your claws and talked about wedding rings. So I left it to you and the vicar of Lou, 'cause I'm not much good at these things. Now I lie on the sands, my head in my hands, watching the girls go by. Oh yes, I can see you looking at me, a proprietary gleam in your eye.
Can't do anything funny after that, can you? This was called Spring Song, 1972. I remember one morning I pulled my curtains and this thing called nature just boomed into the room, and light and green and trees, air. Spring came haunting my garden today, and a song of cold flowers was on the grass. And though I could not see it, I knew the air was colored, and new songs were in old blackbirds' throats. The ground trembled at the thought of what was to come. It was not my garden today. Today, it belonged to itself. At the dawn smell of it, my children fled the house and went living in that primitive dimension that only they and gardens understand. And my dog, too, lost his mind and ran in circle after canine circle, trying to catch himself. And do you know what he did? It was that kind of a day. And all that crap. Myxomatosis, a baby rabbit with eyes full of pus, is the work of scientific us. And this is called simple one. I thought I saw Jesus on a tram. And I said, "Are you Jesus?" He said, "Yes, I am." Pass by, citizen, don't look left or right. Keep those drip, dry eyes straight ahead. A tree, chop it down. The Finchley Council say it's a danger to lightning. Pansies calling for the water, they're queer. Let them die. Seek comfort in the scarlet, labor-saving plastic rose, fresh with the fragrance of Daz. Sunday, Sunday, pray, citizen, pray that no rain will fall on your new, highly polished four-wheel God. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Get it out with Optrex. I might say it's very nice to be with young people like this who are very warm-feeling. These are good evenings for me. I do a lot of crappy work, on films and all that shit, and I hate it, And you don't get much bread for this, but I like it. Anything to get away from a wife. It's one called New Members Welcome. Pull the blinds on your emotions. Switch off your face. Put your love into neutral. This way to the human race. And it's called Christmas. You're on your own. It's called Christmas 73. A little girl called Sile Javot said, "Look at the lovely presents we've got." While a little girl in Ethiopia said, "Oh, what a lovely slice of bread." Now, everybody has to die. Hands up those who are not. Nobody? It's not a very good school, this. I took the chair of death years ago and survived it. And I said to my brother, "What's the chair of poetry like at Cambridge?" He said, "It's blue." Now, I've looked up the last words of these famous people, and these are what they are. Florence Nightingale. "I smell burning." The Duke of Wellington. "Oh." Sir Harry Lauder. "More paper." Mr. Gladstone. "I feel better now." Oh, the last words of King George V. "Bugger Bogner."
Here's a little old song which I wrote, 6-7 years ago, but it still keeps going strong. I remember the time I was driving along on the Liverpool highway, singing a song, and the day was as good as the road it was along. I was on my way. Then up ahead a black speck appeared, and as I drew near, it was just what I feared, doing 25 miles an hour in top gear in the outside lane. Oh dear me, glory be one of them I could see. It was a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. He and his wife, they sat side by side in their safety belts. They were safely tied, and together they drove through the green countryside, which they did not see. They had two dingle-dangles which hung by a string from the mirror, and on the back seat was a thing which wobbled its head up and down with a singular stare at me. up and down, side to side. Keep your eyes open wide for the red velvet steering wheel cover drive. La la la, la 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 la. He's got 3 china ducks on his sitting room wall, and a bowl of pink plastic flowers in the hall, and a souvenir ashtray he bought in Porthcawl on his holiday. And when he gets home he'll go straight to his chair, switch on the telly, and all night he'll stare at the girls and the gunfights and wish he was there. But he's here to stay. When he regrets what he didn't see, then he'll switch to BBC, 'cause he's a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. You try that, come on. La la la, la la la, la la la, la. That wasn't very good. Sing it again. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la la la. Now each Monday morning he takes his basket to town. He goes to the supermarket, he walks up and down, thinks, oh, what a task, it's so hard to choose. 'Cause there's apple sponge pudding all topped with tasty freeze, ready-cut loaves, instant cake mix, frozen peas, all of those 57 varieties. Fresh today, hermetically sealed, untouched by human hand, so easy, just heat the tin. Think of those gifts you might win if you're a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la, and again. La la la, la la la, la la la. Well, it's Saturday night, it's the night for a fling, so let's on with our glad rags. Ring-a-ding-dingo, well, down to the hall for a good game of bingo and cups of tea. Then we'll back home to bed, switch out the light, hug a hot water bottle, sweet dreams and sleep tight, and God keep us from things that go bump in the night, and especially all those dreams of the day when our own children will say, my dad's a red velvet steering wheel cover driver.
Thank you. I've come here from Her Majesty's Recruiting Office to tell you about a new exciting offer we have to you. Join the army and go to distant exotic places, meet new interesting people, and kill them. I'm going to read you the wit and wisdom of Spine Milligan, the well-known. Anyone can live to 67, but only a bus can live to be a 67A. There should be a government health warning on the tail of every sailor's shirt. Economy is when you only use one side of the soap. We can't go on meeting like this. Contraceptives should be used on every conceivable occasion. Oh, I see you've used them. And by the sound of it, they didn't work. Never mind, try again. Chopsticks are one of the reasons why Chinese have never invested custard. And finally, in our dying minutes of the show, policemen are numbered in case they get lost. That's it, friends. What are you going to do? Sing a song.
We've enjoyed having you here.
Yeah, do it. Got more songs? I'll sit down and get pissed again.
The song's been hounding me for years. I think the very first song I sang tonight was something to do with Dr. Barnard in South Africa. Well, it's Achby's Daddy, as it's called. This is a song I wrote for some South African school children that I was teaching, hopefully. In fact, I learned a lot more from them than they ever learned from me. And it's just a kid's song for them. Please, Daddy, won't you take us to the drive-in? All 6, 7 of us, 8, 9, 10. We wanna see a flick about Tarzan and the Ape Men. And when the show's over, you can bring us back again. Popcorn, chewing gum, peanuts and bubble gum, ice cream, candy floss and Eskimo pie. Ach, Daddy, how we miss nigger balls and licorice, Pepsi Cola, ginger beer and Canada Dry. That's the chorus. You know what to do. Oh, please, Daddy, won't you take us to the fun fair? We wanna have a ride on the bumper cars. We'll buy a stick of candy floss and eat it on the octopus. Then we'll take the rocket ship that goes to Mars. Popcorn, chewing gum, peanuts and ice cream, candy floss, Eskimo pie. Ah, Daddy, how we miss nigger balls and licorice, Pepsi Cola, ginger beer and dry. Eskimo pie is a sort of ice cream. Don't worry about nigger balls, just sing it. Oh, please, Daddy, won't you take us to the wrestling? We wanna see that old called Sky High Lee. When he fights Willie Liebenberg, there's gonna be a murder, 'cause Willie's gonna doner that bloody Yankee. Popcorn, peanuts and ice cream, candy floss and Eskimo pie. Oh, Daddy, how we missed
nigger balls
and the Pepsi Cola, ginger beer and dry. Come on, if Spike can do it, you can do it. Come on. Oh, please, Daddy, won't you take us off to Durban? It's only 8 hours in the Chevrolet that spans the sea and sand and sun and fish in the aquarium. That's a lekker place for a holiday. Popcorn, chewing gum, peanuts and bubble gum, ice cream, candy floss and Eskimo pie. Ah, Daddy, how we miss nigger balls and licorice, Pepsi Cola, ginger beer and Canada Dry. Oh, please, Daddy, footcheck. We're gonna leave you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're not done. All right, hold it. I'm going to sing a song. I just had a South African song now. and I want to sing a song that I submitted to the committee for the new Australian anthem. I'd like to say that they submitted 13,000 entries, and none were accepted. This is my entry. Australia, Australia, we think of you each day. Australia, Australia, at work or at play. We think of you in the morning and in the evening too. We even wake up at midnight so that we can think of you. Australia, Australia, we love you from the heart. The kidneys, the liver, and the giblets, and every other part.
I'd like to point out that Mary and I...
We've got to clear the hall, you see. That's the only trouble. And get... Holden, this is your place. Got a bad memory. Right, knock, knock. Amnesics! Irene, right? Got to sing a song. Well, Irene, is it Irene? Right,
Irene, come on, you can all sing.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
too. Sometimes I live in the country.
The country.
Sometimes I live in the town.
The town.
Sometimes I have a great notion to jump into the water and drown. Irene, good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I see you in my dreams. Your verse.
I haven't got one.
Oh, I'll get back again.
I laid a part of the fort in the garden and for tall.
Irene, good night, Irene. Irene, good. Come on, sing. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. One more verse. I asked your mother for you. She told me that you was too young. I wish to the Lord I'd never seen your face. I'm sorry she ever was born. Irene, good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. You in my dreams.
Oh, God bless the Queen, Irene. God save the Queen. God save the Queen, Irene, Irene.